I've been a trucker for many years, hauling goods across various routes. Driving at night has become second nature to me, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened on that dark, desolate road. It was late, and I was pushing through the last leg of my journey, eager to reach my destination. The road was empty, the only sounds being the hum of the engine and the tires on the asphalt. Suddenly, my headlights caught something unusual on the road ahead. As I got closer, I saw that it was an old, battered bicycle lying in the middle of the road. The front wheel was slowly spinning, as if it had just fallen. I pulled over, got out of the truck, and walked over to the bicycle. The air was cold, and the night was eerily quiet. There was no sign of anyone around. My instincts told me something was off, but I couldn't leave it in the middle of the road. I moved the bike to the side and was about to head back to my truck when I heard a faint sound coming from the woods nearby. I froze, straining my ears to catch it again. It was a soft rustling, like something or someone moving through the underbrush. I looked towards the trees, but it was too dark to see anything clearly. My heart began to race as I imagined what could be out there. Without wasting another moment, I hurried back to my truck, locking the door behind me. As I sat there, trying to calm my nerves, I glanced at the rearview mirror and saw a shadowy figure standing not far from the truck. It was just standing there, watching me. Panic surged through me. I didn't wait to see what they would do next. I hit the gas, and the truck roared to life as I sped down the road, leaving the figure behind. The road eventually widened, and the forest started to thin out. As dawn broke, I finally reached my destination. I parked the truck and leaned back in my seat, exhausted. The events of the night played over in my mind, and a shiver ran down my spine. I still have no idea who or what was out there on that lonely road, and I hope I never have to find out. The night had fallen over the highway, with only the faint glow of the truck's headlights cutting through the darkness. I had been driving for hours, fatigue slowly creeping in. The stillness of the night and the monotonous scenery made me feel a bit dazed, but I knew I had to stay alert and keep going. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared on the road ahead. At first, I thought it was an animal, but as I got closer, I realized it was a car with its lights flickering erratically. The car was blocking the road, right in the middle. Strangely, all the doors were wide open, as if someone had hurriedly left. My instincts screamed that something was wrong, but curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to get closer. I brought the truck to a slow stop, the screeching brakes piercing through the night's silence. Everything was eerily quiet. There wasn't even a whisper of wind. My footsteps echoed in the emptiness as I approached the car, which was deserted. It was as if the occupants had vanished into thin air. The car's interior was in order, with the key still in the ignition. There were no signs of a struggle or anything out of place, but the sense of unease continued to grow. I scanned the surroundings, but the darkness swallowed everything beyond the reach of my truck's headlights. The whole scene felt unsettling. I thought about leaving immediately, but something compelled me to investigate further. I went around to the back of the car and tried to open the trunk, but it was stuck. I grabbed the key from the ignition and unlocked it, but even then, the trunk wouldn't budge. Determined, I leaned into the back seat and managed to pry it open just a crack. Through that narrow gap, I saw several black garbage bags crammed inside, tied tightly with a thick rope. They looked suspicious. Just then, the silence of the night was shattered by a loud bang. My heart skipped a beat as I instinctively jerked my head up, banging it against the car's roof. From the darkness, I heard the sound of rapid footsteps and a low, guttural voice. Panic surged through me. Without thinking, I dashed back to my truck. My hands were shaking as I started the engine, and I floored the gas pedal. As the truck roared to life, I caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure emerging from behind the car, but I didn't stick around to get a better look. My only thought was to get out of there. The truck sped down the road, and in the reviewer mirror, I saw the figure standing still for a moment before giving chase. He didn't catch up, but the urgency of the situation kept me from easing up on the accelerator. I drove as fast as I could, hoping to lose the headlights that were now closing in behind me. The other car was honking furiously, as if trying to force me to stop. My mind raced with fear, praying that I would encounter another vehicle or a police car. Time seemed to stretch on endlessly as the car tailgated me, and I had no idea what the driver wanted, but I knew I couldn't stop. Just when I thought I was out of options, flashing red and blue lights appeared on the side of the road up ahead. The car behind me veered off sharply, disappearing into the darkness of the desert. I slammed on the brakes, finally bringing the truck to a halt on the shoulder. The police car pulled up beside me, and my hands gripped the steering wheel, drenched in cold sweat. The officer approached, and I hastily explained what had happened. They assured me they would search for the vehicle. Since that night, every time I drive alone in the dark, the memory of that terrifying experience replays in my mind. I can no longer ignore the hidden dangers of driving at night, and the fear from that night will always be with me. A desolate highway stretches endlessly into the night. The road is empty, and the sky is dark, creating an eerie atmosphere. Inside the truck's cabin, a young driver sits, looking exhausted. He grips the steering wheel with tired hands, the dim light barely illuminating his face. An empty energy drink lies on the floor next to the driver's seat, a sign that he has exhausted all his energy boosters. The driver pulls over at a rundown convenience store on the side of the road. The store's dim lights barely flicker, casting long shadows on the ground. He pushes open the creaky door of the convenience store. Inside, the shelves are nearly bare, and dust covers the floor, giving the store an abandoned feel. In the dark store, an old refrigerator emits a faint blue glow, standing out in the otherwise pitch-black room. The driver opens the refrigerator, only to find it completely empty, with even the shelves removed. The sight is unsettling. Suddenly, a faint noise catches the driver's attention. His expression shifts to one of tension as he freezes in place, trying to locate the source of the sound. He cautiously scans the store, his eyes darting around as he tries to figure out what made the noise. The store is eerily silent. Quickly deciding to leave, the driver rushes out of the store and heads back to his truck, his steps quick and nervous. Back in the truck, he notices something odd in the rearview mirror. The curtain in the back of the truck is moving slightly, as if something or someone is back there. The driver's face reflects growing anxiety. He grips the steering wheel tighter, sweat beginning to bead on his forehead. Despite his fears, the driver resumes his journey. The truck barrels down the empty, dark highway, its headlights cutting through the night. From the driver's point of view, he keeps glancing nervously at the rearview mirror, his tension mounting with each look. The curtain at the back of the truck moves again, this time more noticeably. The driver's heart races as he keeps an eye on it. Deciding to pull over, the driver parks the truck on the side of the road. The scene is quiet, with nothing but the sound of the truck's engine idling. Stepping out of the truck, the driver slowly walks towards the back, his hands trembling slightly in the cool night air. With a deep breath, he cautiously opens the back of the truck. The interior is dark, hiding whatever might be inside. The driver is shocked as he spots three figures huddled in a corner of the cargo area. They are barely visible in the dim light, their presence unsettling. The three figures stare back at the driver with cold, menacing eyes. They are dressed in ragged clothing, and one of them clutches a sharp knife. Out of nowhere, police arrive, surrounding the truck. Their flashing lights cut through the darkness, casting harsh shadows. The police move quickly, handcuffing the three individuals. Their expressions remain cold and unyielding, despite the situation. The driver stands to the side, visibly shaken. His face is pale with fear and confusion as he watches the arrest unfold. The police thoroughly inspect the truck, ensuring there are no more surprises hidden inside. The tension in the air is thick. A police officer approaches the driver, offering a comforting pat on the shoulder. Despite the gesture, the driver remains deeply disturbed by the night's events. As dawn begins to break, the truck is left alone on the side of the road. The sky starts to lighten, but the eerie feeling lingers.